Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News Late Edition. Over the Easter weekend, the Lloydminster exhibition was doing its part by giving families an opportunity to enjoy their Easter dinner despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Jackie Tomayer from the Lloydminster exhibition joins me today. Jackie, first off, good to see you again and thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
Thanks, Connor, for having us on.
No problem. Now, you guys, obviously Easter was last weekend, but you guys did something pretty remarkable. What exactly did you guys do?
So we came up with an Easter meal campaign that we were pretty excited about. We were able to feed 375 meals to Lloydminster residents. They came curbside to pick up, and we were happy that we were able to provide those meals to some people that maybe didn't want to go to the grocery store, or that maybe didn't want to cook a full turkey if there was only 2 or 3 of them.
Was it all here in Lloyd, or did you go outside the area? Where exactly did you guys go?
Most of the residents, yes, were in Lloyd. We did do one delivery north of town, and then there was a few farm families that came in and picked up multiple meals for, their kids and grandkids and that sort of thing. But it was mostly in the Lloydminster area, yes.
And how many volunteers and did you guys have throughout this day? Because from what we saw, it looked like it was a pretty big group effort there.
Yeah, so we had, I think, 7 staff that were here working out on Sunday, and then we had 7 volunteers. We had 3 in the morning, and then we had 4 come in the afternoon.
Now, how important was an event like this for you guys? I know we've obviously talked in the past about how you guys are adapting to changes with COVID, but to do something positive and give back to the community, how important was that for you guys?
Yeah, for our morale, for our whole organization, it was quite remarkable. It really helped let us give back, and that's what we like to do to Lloydminster is host events and give something positive to the community. And this allowed us to do that in a safe way.
What was the response like from the people when you dropped off the meals? I know you were probably on that journey as well. What was it like for you personally to go and see the looks on those people's faces when you were delivering those meals?
It was great. I was on the front lines out in the parking lot directing traffic. So one thing that was key to this whole operation was our infrastructure. So when people came into the lot, we had set up 8 parking stalls. So we directed them to those, and then our volunteers would run their meals out. And people were so appreciative that they could come, stay in their vehicle, get delivered a home cooked meal, turkey dinner, and then just drive away. So people were very appreciative of that. We had one lady from Calgary. She ordered a meal for her mom, and we delivered that to the seniors facility, and she was really excited that she could provide for her mom being 5 hours away.
Absolutely. And of course, since Easter's passed, I know Mother's Day is coming up. You guys, we talked about a little bit off camera about what's next for you guys. So I guess just touch about what could possibly be next for you guys.
Yeah, we're developing maybe a bit of a Mother's Day campaign where people can come in and get a meal for Mother's Day to either surprise the moms in their life, the aunts, the grandmas, or treat themselves. So watch our Facebook and Instagram for that, as we'll be launching that probably next week.
And was the food that you guys were giving out, was it all from the Lloyd X Grill, or where did all that come from?
Yeah, all prepared in our exhibition grill. We had turkeys that were sourced locally, that were farm raised, and then we had vegetables and that sort of thing.
Well, Jackie, I always appreciate your time, taking the time to talk to us, and can't wait to see what you guys do for Mother's Day and also other events down the road here, giving back to the community during these tough times. So thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
COVID-19 has slowed down production and increased costs in the ag sector, causing the Canadian Federation of Agriculture to ask the government for help. Eric Bay has more.
The Canadian Federation of Agriculture is addressing challenges facing farmers right now and how those challenges could impact shoppers at the grocery store. These current challenges could see a reduction in the amount and variety of food that shoppers see in the near future.
Agriculture, the foundation of our overall food supply, is at this very moment in time at a tipping point. If we do not, as a nation, address the rising challenges immediately, Canadian consumers could see a decrease in the amount and variety of food at their local grocery stores, as well as higher prices in the months ahead. These are, without question, extraordinary times that require extraordinary measures. Farming families need immediate help and support to ensure our domestic food supply remains reliable and secure for Canadians coast to coast.
These challenges that farmers are facing include a labor shortage and increasing costs to their operation, which is why the CFA is imploring the Canadian government to set up an emergency fund for farmers.
In fact, right now, some farmers are so worried about the mounting challenges, they are strongly considering halting their farming operations altogether. This is a potential tragedy, one Canada cannot afford. If we have learned anything in recent times, it is that the domestic supply of goods, food, is the one true source on which we can bank. Canada, this year more than ever in my lifetime, will need Canadian farmers producing food and setting our country up to best weather this storm.
The restrictions put in place because of COVID-19 have caused processing to take longer, making that more costly as well, which is why the Canadian Cattlemen's Association is hoping to implement measures that were developed in response to BSE.
We have certainly been in close discussions with our friends at the Canadian Cattlemen Association and very alarmed to learn of the restrictions they are seeing in their processing. And we understand that they have been in touch with government, suggesting that this model that was built to respond to BSE be rolled out in this situation. And I believe cattlemen feel that that would be an effective response to the situation right now, as well as they will need some additional help, obviously, as there are costs involved in maintaining those animals as they wait.
The CFA is also imploring the government to look beyond COVID-19 and the importance that agriculture plays once things begin to return to normal.
We want to ensure that our economy is best positioned to recover. And we know from the report that Dominic Barton submitted several years ago, Canadian agriculture is incredibly well poised. The entire agri-food sector, which obviously includes processing and all of the value add that happens to the food that farmers grow. Investments in agriculture are going to really put Canada in the right spot to recover from all of these unprecedented expenditures we've had to appropriately make to deal with COVID.
With fewer foreign workers coming into the ag sector and those that do forced to quarantine, the CFA is hoping that more Canadians take part in working in the ag sector to offset the labor shortages. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Stay with us, more primetime local news after the break.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Yesterday, former NHL head coach Bill Peters was hired on in the KHL. Our Abby St. John and Evan Kenny sit down to break it down.
Today I'm joined here with Evan Kenny, our sports guy, to talk about a story that started back in November with Bill Peters in the NHL. He did resign from the Calgary Flames for inciting some racist comments about 10 years ago. Evan, tell me a little bit about what's been happening and break down the situation for us just a little bit.
Yeah, well, you touched on it a little bit there. There was some allegations that he said some racist comments towards one specific player, that was Akeem Aliu, and that led to his resignation on November 29th. And we all thought it sort of just died after that with Bill Peters resigning. However, he did just get hired to the KHL yesterday. So it sort of brought back, I guess, maybe some memories, for lack of a better word, and sort of people starting to get the thought, is he going to do this again? And different people weighing in. So there is that big question, is this whole scenario going to happen again? And I guess that's the big thing around the Bill Peters discussion with him when you do hire him as a head coach.
Now, what was some of the reactions around, the NHL, the KHL, when Bill Peters was hired in Russia?
Well, Brad Treliving, who's the GM of Calgary at the moment, he said there's always times for second chances. He was a big believer in that, saying this second opportunity, maybe Bill Peters can make amends with his new team. However, there's also been bad reactions as Nigel Dawes, who was the leading scorer and team captain for the team he is now going to be with, quit yesterday morning, basically upon news that Bill Peters was going to be the coach. Nigel Dawes spent time in the WHL and the American Hockey League before heading over to Russia. So maybe he has some experience and maybe he has some background knowledge on Bill Peters. We don't know about that. But when your team captain and leading goal scorer quits the team, that's never a good sign. And then I guess finally, the third biggest reaction from this, or maybe even the biggest reaction from this, is Akim Aliu, who pressed those allegations in November. And he sort of went towards True Living's side there and said there's second chances. I know you'll bring up the tweet here in just a moment, but he basically said, I hope he learns from his mistakes and that the game of hockey can really build from this.
Yeah, definitely. And going on what he tweeted, he did state that hockey is for all. I believe in second chances for everyone, that we can all find forgiveness in our heart, and that real positive change is coming within the league. He's definitely talking about. He ends off his tweet saying that means bringing hockey to the underprivileged youth in order to make the game more diverse, affordable, and accessible to all, regardless of race, gender, and economic background. Now, just by hearing those words that he had written, what's kind of changing within hockey? Has this kind of like snowballed into finding real change to accept everyone into the sport, as it is quite expensive to start playing as a child?
Well, to just touch on how the game of hockey is changing from a more of a societal standpoint. After Liu brought up these allegations, a couple other former NHLers and current NHLers really hopped on his bandwagon, with Dan Carcillo being one of them, and really just saying there's no room for bullying in this game. I think similar to the rest of the world, the NHL is really took notice and is trying to eliminate that. They now have a zero tolerance plan headed specifically towards head coaches. So then, in that sense, they're not taking advantage of maybe some players coming up from the minors who are looking to really build those stepping stones. When it comes to a cost perspective, I mean, it's really tough to for me as an athlete and a reporter rather than an economist to really be able to say how we can lower the cost of sports. But no, hockey is for everyone, right? It's made to be fun for people to play, fun for people to watch, and it should be for everyone.
Now, tell me a little bit about the zero tolerance policy that the NHL did put in place. What does that entail? As you did quickly mention that it is for coaches specifically, for the younger guys coming up, kind of to protect them a little bit. But tell me just a little bit about what the zero tolerance policy entails.
I mean, you pretty much just summed it up right there. It really is so that coaches aren't taking advantage of other players. And as well, it does touch on players, right? Like we said, bullying has no room in this game, in this world. So they're really just trying to eliminate it as a whole and protect those players. We saw it a lot this year, specifically with obviously the firing of Bill Peters. And then Mike Babcock not too long after. Other famous coaches were also being attacked, such as the Sutter brothers. So it's really, I guess it's just the change of an era, if you wanna call it that. People are really starting to notice what's right and what's wrong, and they're taking a stand on it.
Now, Bill Peters was quoted saying, I think as time goes on, we all grow and improve and become better versions of ourselves, and I'm no different than that. Do you think this is his stepping stone, moving to a different league on the other side of the world in Russia? Do you think that this is a real stepping stone for him to kind of change the way he views his players and how he treats his players that he is coaching?
I think it could be. It's really tough to say whether he's just saying this, to get media off his back, to get other players, other coaches, whoever it may be, off his back. But if what he's saying is true and he is trying to better himself, he's trying to become, a better version of himself, then good on him. I think everybody, deserves a second chance. And for him, distancing himself from where he played hockey, where he's coached in the past, where he, I guess, now has this reputation, might be good for him. He's going across the pond. So a lot of these players don't have North American hockey experience. And the ones that do, most likely haven't had Bill Peters as a head coach, as he was a head coach 10 years ago in the American Hockey League before coming to Carolina, before Calgary as head coaches. So a lot of them probably haven't had his experience yet. I think it's a good change for him just to distance himself and start fresh.
Yeah, that sounds great, and hopefully that he does realize that this is his fresh start, and he can regrow, and maybe one day down the future he can maybe go back to the NHL. Who knows? But thank you so much for your insight, Evan. It's always appreciated, and hopefully the game of hockey will change just the way that it views and how it treats its players. Definitely.
Always a pleasure, Abby.
Now let's take a look at some of the photos for Hearts for Lloydminster. Photos submitted by many of you on Facebook. Here's a little montage.
Sometimes we give up too soon, and I know how our past can make us feel ruined. But I know there's a yearning in your heart, and it's time for a fresh new start. Yeah, but I know at times it can be very frightening. But don't let it be the reason that holds you back. Hey, you let go. Hey, you let go of the fear that holds you back. Of the fear that holds you back. Ooh, hey, you let go. Hey, you let go of the fear that holds you back. Of the fear that holds you back.
All right, so I'm joined by Michael Paynes, and he's a finalist for the 2020 Caring for Our Watersheds competition. So first of all, Michael, can you just tell me a little bit about what this competition is?
It's about helping the watershed and trying to figure out good ways and fun ways that we can involve the community in helping the watershed. I would say that's what it's about.
And so how did you first find out about this competition?
We put an ad out for our business, which we sell worms, and someone told us about it.
And then just tell me a little bit about your submission that you put forward.
My what again? I didn't hear that, sorry.
Can you just tell me a little bit about the submission that you put forward for the contest?
Yeah, it'd be 1,000 long word essay, and you have to have visuals and stuff in it. We did pretty good, I must say, about our submission.
And can you tell me a little bit about your idea? I know it's vermin compost, so can you just tell me a little bit about what that is and why it's important for our watershed?
Vermin compost is something that's used in multiple areas. It's composting with worms. They put it in places like they use it in a lot of places. Worms help the dirt, they help our plants, which we use a lot. Really helps everything, the worm.
And so you're a finalist in this competition. What's the next stages of this competition like?
Well, they actually had to cancel it, sadly, because COVID-19. It was going to be we would tell them and go to an area, speak about it and everything, but it was sadly closed.
All right, and so since it's canceled, is there any kind of any other way that it's going to end? Do you get any prize from this, or how does that work?
We get $600 for ourselves, and then we can get $1,000 for implementing the idea.
That's awesome. And then I know you actually had to work on making this submission from home due to kind of all this COVID-19 going on and school being canceled and stuff. Can you just talk a bit about that, and did that kind of pose any bit of a struggle for you?
Not really. I didn't actually know it was supposed to be a school thing till after I submitted it.
Oh, okay.
Tell me about it.
Okay. And then what does it feel like to be, a student from Holy Rosary, just going out and trying to do this and becoming a finalist in this competition?
Feels good.
That's awesome. And then why do you think it's important to do a competition like this to kind of promote the environment, promote our watershed?
Well, I do agree in a lot of things, but I think it's more about having the community know more about watershed and how it's going to help the world type thing, how we should help the world.
And how have some of your friends reacted when they found out that you became a finalist?
They were surprised, actually. I'm not much of an essay guy, so.
That's awesome. And is there anything else you want to share about, anything extra you want to share before we leave?
Well, you can check out our business. We sell the dirt, which is useful for plants, and we also sell worms, which you can make your own vermicompost if you'd like.
All right, perfect. And thanks so much for taking some time to talk with me today, Michael.
It was a pleasure.
Perfect, thank you.